Put your hands together to welcome Sunil Gavaskar, the man who's the little master of the Indian cricket.
Essa bola vai rolar. Mundo é um tapete verde. Quando a bola chega lá, coração fica na rede, na rede, na rede. Olá, olá.
La 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 la. I dare you.
Lego. 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 Lego.
Feel how the planets become one. It's like a drum to this and rhythm. Hear the whistle, kick the ball. The entire world soars like an eagle, and we all play like we dance. Only today, there's no tomorrow. We fall behind in this place. There's no space for fear or sorrow. Is it true that you want it? Then act like you mean it. With everyone watching, it's truth or dare. Can you feel it? La 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 la.
This is indeed an unbelievable moment when we have with us the living legend, Mr. Sunil Gavaskar. I am Simran Sokhi, student, class 9 IGCSE.
And I am Rohan Rangarajan, Vice Captain and Opening Batsman of the Under-16 Singapore National Cricket Team.
It is our proud privilege to welcome one and all to this special edition of the GIIS Leadership Lecture Series.
First and foremost, we extend a splendiferous welcome to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, sportsman par excellence and chairman of DBS Singapore Slammers.
We welcome Mr. Atul Temunikar, Chairman and Co-founder of Global Schools Foundation, honorable members of the senior management of GIIS, and special guests.
It also gives us immense pleasure to welcome the staff and students of Global Indian International Schools in India, Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, Vietnam, UAE, and Singapore. And we are connected through cyberspace.
And last but not the least, we warmly welcome all staff and teachers of GIIS Queenstown. As we mentioned earlier, Mr. Gavaskar is currently chairman of the DBS Singapore Slammers. Friends, we have some very interesting news for you. The Singapore Slammers will be competing at the inaugural Coca-Cola International Premier Tennis League, a team tennis competition to be held in Singapore from the 2nd to the 4th of December.
The tournament will feature a total of 21 Grand Slam champions and 14 current and former world number ones. The winning team will receive the IPTL Challenge Trophy and a grand prize of USD 1 million.
What is unique about the tennis IPL is its super exciting format, where unlike traditional tournaments, there will be a DJ on hand spinning live music, and spectators will be allowed to cheer their favorite teams on while the point is still being played. This promises to be sporting fun at its best.
Spectators will get to watch 24 world-class tennis players compete over 3 days. And guess who are the members of Team Singapore? All eyes to the screen, please, if you don't already know about the Coca-Cola International Premier Tennis League. Mr. Sunil, Mr. Sunil Gavaskar is a man of many talents, an international sports hero. He dominated the imagination of the world for an entire generation. Such was his popularity that he had become a household name in the Indian subcontinent. To the vast multitude of his Indian fans, Gavaskar's audacity to face the fierce, fast-paced bowling attack of the West Indies symbolized a challenge to bring it on, while he remained unfazed and superbly in command of the battle on the pitch.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow students, now is the moment we have all been waiting for. We request our chairman and co-founder, Mr. Atul Termonikar, to accompany Mr. Sunil Gavaskar on stage.
And we also invite our panelists for the discussion today. We call upon Master Janak, captain of the Under-16 Singapore national cricket team. Aditya Rohan Mathur, who are both members of the school cricket team, and Nishan Mittal, former captain of the school Under-14 boys cricket.
May we request Mr. Gavaskar to address our eagerly waiting audience of young people who are dying to hear you speak. Over to the legend.
Thank you. Thank you for the very warm welcome that you've given me. And thank you also for the introduction. Because believe me, and I've said this before, but I like to say it considering the fact that I'm retired now for almost 27 years or so, that when I started playing cricket, I really wasn't introduced by my name. I don't know how many of you all know, because you all are a different generation, that my mother's elder brother, Madhav Mantri, he played 4 test matches for India in the 1950s. And so when I started playing cricket, I was always introduced and referred to as Madhav Mantri's nephew, never by my own name. And so it went on. Even as I got into the Indian team, it was always Madhav Mantri's nephew rather than my name. Then my first trip to the West Indies, India won a series for the first time. I was very, very lucky that in my first innings in Test cricket, I got dropped by none other than Sir Garfield Sobers when I was 12. That allowed me to carry on and get to a 50 and keep my place in the team for the next test. For the next test again, I was batting on 6 and Gary Sobers dropped me again, and I got my first test century. And so by the end of the series, India had won the series, and I'd got some runs in that series as well, thanks to Sir Garfield Sobers' generosity. And that was the first time that India had ever beaten the West Indies not just in a series, but in a test match. So there was tremendous joy all over India. And we had a fabulous reception when we came back. And then there was a felicitation function at the Wankhede Stadium, at the Brabant Stadium. And at that felicitation function, I was the baby of the team at that stage, the youngest member of the team. They introduced everybody. They started, the master of ceremonies. There was a big crowd to introduce the players one by one. So started by saying, Ajit Wadekar, the captain of the team, how we did this and how the bowling changes, etc. Talked about Venkat Raghavan, the vice captain of the team. So it just went on. Eknath Solkar, Dilip Sardesai, 212 not out, and how we turned around the fortunes of the Indian team. Everything, all that was done. And because I was the baby of the team, I was left last. And so when it came to introducing me, and I thought at that stage that maybe I'll be introduced by my name, the master of ceremonies said, and let me now introduce you to the person who none other than Sir Garfield Sobers dropped 4 times in the series. So again, I was never introduced by my name. The same thing kept on happening, and that is the reason when you said some nice things and introduced me by my own name, Sunil Gavaskar, I was very, very happy. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, sir.
Generally, when I have this in front of me, I'm actually nowadays I'm describing a match, what is going on. And here I'm actually facing a whole different set of bowlers, and I understand that there's going to be a Q&A a little bit later on. So which is something that I just want to say to all of you guys, that please understand that I'm a retired batsman. I do not have a helmet or anything of the sort. So please don't bowl too many bounces at me, or too many. I don't mind the googlies, but please don't bowl in too many bounces at me. I just want to say what a terrific opportunity this is for me to interact with the future generation, because the future is in your hands. You're the guys who are going to make the world a better place than it is today. And all of us know that there is scope to make the world an even better place. There are so many struggles going on. There are so many conflicts going on. There are different sorts of struggles, different sorts of conflicts. But the whole overriding philosophy that I would urge all of you all to embrace is the one of peace. Because there's nothing like peace, because it's in peace that you can do what you have to do, you can progress the best. When there is strife, when there is struggle, and I don't mind the struggle to get better. That is not the issue. You need to struggle to get better. You shouldn't have anything coming to you easy. You shouldn't have anything falling in your laps just like that. But to be able to strive for peace, to be able to live with your fellow human being is the thing that you need to strive for. And that is something that comes out of the game of cricket. It probably does out of other games as well, but having played the game of cricket with a squad of 16 on a tour, at home when the squad is pruned down to maybe 12 or 13 because at home the other players go to play other first-class games, it actually tells you how important it is to be able to stay together, because the more you stay together, the better the chances of you performing. See, a batsman cannot score runs unless there is another batsman at the other end. For a batsman to score 100, he needs the non-striker to be able to hold on. For a bowler to take wickets, he needs the fielders to take catches, the fielders to stop runs. He needs the bowler at the other end not to leak runs, not to give away runs, to keep the pressure on. So it is a question of all being together. And most importantly, what the game of cricket teaches you is how it actually reflects the society that we live in. For example, if I'm a batsman and I'm a good batsman, at some stage during the innings, the number 9, 10 or 11 batsmen comes into bat. Now we all know numbers 9, 10 and 11 are not capable batsmen, or not very capable batsmen. So how me, as being a little more capable than the other person, how I can control the strike and make sure he does not get out. It's in my interest as well to make sure he doesn't get out, because that means I can bat and get runs. I can get to 100, 150, 200, maybe more. Because if batsmen are out at the other end, the whole team is out. And therefore, I have to look after him. So how I farm the strike, as they call it in cricket, how I farm the strike, take maybe 5 balls of the over myself, and of the 6th ball, maybe give him 1 ball to play. Or be smart enough to play all 6 balls and take a single of the last ball, or take 3 of the last ball, so that for the next over I'm batting again. So this is what we have to look at, not just from a cricketing point of view, from the society's point of view as well. Because some of us might be well endowed in terms of intelligence, in terms of facilities, in terms of wealth. And I think that is what we need to do to make sure that the less endowed, perhaps, are also brought into the fold. And with them, we make the progress. And that is why I believe that cricket is a game that teaches you so much about life. How to be together, how to share each other's success,
how to be able to console each other, put an arm around each other when we are not doing well, but never giving up hope. The beauty of this game of cricket is that you don't give up hope. The moment you give up hope, you have given up. And you've given up the struggle, you've given up the fight, and that is never going to be a good enough thing. So it's very, very important. The 3Ds come into play very much. And I believe in the 3Ds, and 3Ds, not just for cricket, but in all walks of life, work very well. Determination, dedication, discipline. I'll start with determination. And again, I'm taking a cricketing analogy, and I'm saying that as a batsman, I go out to bat, the ball is new. I just asked some of the youngsters over there who are the new ball bowlers there, and there were 7, 8, 9, I think, hands that shot up. And then I asked who are the silly guys? So they were all looking at me quizzically. So I said, who are the silly guys? Who are the opening batsmen? So there were only 1 or 2 hands that came up. And why do I call opening batsmen silly guys? Because, I mean, you've got to be crazy. When you go out to bat, when the bowler is fresh, you don't know anything about the pitch, the ball is hard and new, and anything can happen. So you got to go and face at a time when you are not sure of anything. So if you negotiate and do well, then who I call the glamour boys, the number 3, 4, 5 batsmen can come in and they lagav and score a lot of runs. So the silly boys, I was very lucky to see there were only 2 who raised their hands up. Eventually there are always 2 silly boys because they are the opening batsmen. But opening batsmen need to have the 3Ds. And the determination factor comes in over here. When you're struggling, when the ball is doing all kinds of things, you're not able to put bat to ball, the ball is hitting you on the pads, there are appeals going, there's a lot of noise going around you. You don't give up. You don't give up, you hang in there. Hang in there till the bowlers tire a little bit. You hang in there till the ball stops moving. You hang in there till you get what is happening with the pitch, how the pitch is behaving. And then at the end of the day, if it's a test match or if it's a first class match, at the end of the day, you will be able to get the rewards by scoring 100 or a big 100. As my coach told me, give the first half an hour to the bowler, the next 5.5 hours will be yours. And what he meant by that very clearly was that in the first half an hour when the ball is doing all kinds of things, don't try and dominate the bowler. You can dominate the bowler when he's tiring, etc., etc. And I think that is where the determination factor comes in. Dedication is something that you are dedicated towards the game. So you do everything possible to try and get better at that game, whatever profession you're in. So you do a lot of reading. Maybe in today's day and age, you go on the net, or today's day and age, you see a lot of videos, you see all that to try and understand the opposition, to try and understand the possible obstacles that you might come across, and to try and see how you can get better, to try and see how others have managed to get better, and to try and learn from them. And that's the dedication towards that particular craft. Discipline is something, the third D, discipline, is something that is more of not just having regular hours, regular sleep, so you're in the best physical and mental shape to do well the next day. But discipline is able to discipline your particular sport, your particular game, your individual game for the benefit of the team. Doesn't always happen, and it can never always happen, because that's the nature of cricket and that's the nature of sport. But that's the third D that is so important. You discipline your game according to the needs of the side. And when you do that, you will find that even if you might not make a major contribution, the fact that you've taken the team or given the team the direction towards a win is the greatest satisfaction. So these are the 3 Ds that I would urge all of you all to maybe follow, because I've tried to follow them in my life, not just on the cricket field, but off it as well. And all I can say is that I've been very, very fortunate, and which is the reason why I get the opportunity to speak to the future generation like you all, and to say to you all the very best. May God be with you and give you the strength to fulfill all your aspirations, all your dreams, and as I said, make this world a much better place than it is today. Thank you.
So it is indeed a pleasure for us to have your distinguished audience here. there is absolutely tons and tons of knowledge that you have in cricket. Your achievements speak for themselves. And I think this particular school, and we have lots of our colleagues joining us. If I can point out correctly, on the top right corner on the video conference, we have the students from GIIS Tokyo. Please raise your hands. Students from GIIS Tokyo. Oh, there you go. And at bottom, the middle screen is from the GIIS Malaysia and Kuala Lumpur. Hi guys, can you see us? Very good. And from the bottom right, we have GIIS Bangalore. Good morning, everyone. There you go. In the center bottom, I think we have GIIS Indore or Ahmedabad, which is the one? I think that's the center. And to the left, we have, bottom left is the GIIS Noida from NCR Delhi. So there you go. I think it's very early morning there. They are still coming to the school. And so we didn't want to upset them. We have a lot of parents also watching a live webcast of this entire proceedings. So we are live on the video conference with all our campuses and also live on the webcast. So we made it very easy and comfortable for parents to watch it at home and at their workplaces. So we now hand over to our MCs.
Mr. Gavaskar is a superhero who dominated the imagination of the cricketing world and became a household name due to his mesmerizing knocks. I am Rohan, and these are my co-panelists Ishan, Janak, and Aditya, and we are honored to have you here on this discussion, sir. Sir, there are many budding cricketers and die-hard Gavaskar fans in the crowd waiting to ask you a question. We're all keen to know how you began to start playing cricket, and what were the early days like? With your permission, we will take the first question from the Queenstown campus.
Good morning, sir. I'm Smith from the Queenstown campus, and my question is that, sir, what was your reaction when you received your first bat from your parents?
You couldn't. I couldn't actually be able to describe the joy I felt when I first got a bat from my father. It was one of these, harrow-sized bats, as they called it. But before that also, much before that, I don't know who, I didn't actually get as a present, but it was in the house, is where I learnt my cricket. I grew up in a joint family, and everybody in that family was crazy about cricket. And it was my mother who was bowling to me and literally underarming the ball, maybe at this distance. And I must have been about maybe 3 or 4 years old, and she was underarming the ball to me, and I hit the ball back, tennis ball, and I hit the ball back, and it hit her on the bridge of the nose, and she started to bleed. And as a kid, I got scared to see blood. I'd never seen blood, till then. So I went there, and I was probably crying at that stage. And my mother said to me, with a pallu, she wiped the blood off. And she said to me, go play. And I remember this very vividly. She said, go play. So I said, no, but you're hurt. And she said, no, if you're going to play this game, then you've got to be prepared to get hurt and bear the pain and carry on. So that was my first lesson in cricket. She, remember, was the younger sister of Madhav Mantri, who unfortunately passed away in May this year. He was 92 years old. He was the oldest living Indian cricketer at that stage. He was the one who also was a huge inspiration with the way he conducted his life and some of the things that he taught me, which is to strive for your caps, not to expect anything easy from anybody. So I think that really was fantastic. And then when my father, who was a club cricketer, he gave me a bat. By that time I was a little bit bigger. I wouldn't say taller, because somewhere down the road I think that tall business is not quite worked out. But that is where immediately I went down to the we had four blocks of apartments, and in the middle we used to play our game. So I immediately went down with the bat, called all my other guys, little friends over there, and we played. And the best part about the bat was, because there weren't too many bats available, The best part about the bat was if I thought that I had been given out wrongly, I would tuck the bat in my shoulder and under my shoulder and walk off.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
for
sir.
this.
So if I may say, back then, I think your mother would be the one who broke the stereotype of having something broken around the house and not chasing their kid with the bat.
I think so,
Probably.
yes.
So,
Sir, I'm curious to know, when did you give your son his first cricket bat? And as a parent, how do you support him, and does your formidable reputation inspire him or intimidate him?
He was also, actually in Rohan's case, and I've got to say your parents have a good choice in names. In Rohan's case, he was more a bowler. His big hero was Jeff Thompson of Australia, who, by the way, is the fastest bowler that I have played. And so he wasn't very keen on a bat. He was just keen on a ball. And the thing that I had to do every time I went on a tour or every time I went for a test match was to get him a brand new ball. And he actually used to sleep with all those different 6, 8, 10 balls under his pillow. He would sleep with that. So he wasn't inclined that much towards batting. And so it was as a bowler. And whether he got intimidated by my reputation, I'm not too sure. But like I said to him, that he's doing everything the wrong way around. So there was not going to be, it was never going to be easy for him. And by saying he was doing everything the wrong way around, I meant that he was a left-hander. So he was doing everything the wrong way around. I was a right-hander, so he was doing everything the wrong way around. And I also said to him, because I saw a couple of his innings when he played for India, a couple of his dismissals, when he was looking good, shaping up well, somebody at backward point taking a brilliant catch and dismissing him. So I said to him that, look, maybe what has happened is that your father has used up all the good luck and he hasn't left too much for you, and maybe that's one of the reasons why he's not been able to make that progress.
Sir, besides cricket, you're a fantastic writer too. You've been a columnist, delighted many readers with your take on the game, and in fact, you began writing very early in your career. All 4 of your books have been well taken by the readers. In fact, my dad at home keeps mentioning about your book Idols, where you talk about 31 of your illustrious contemporaries. Now, one of my friends from the Queenstown campus has a question for you.
Good morning, sir. I am Karthik Iyer from Class 9 IGB. Sir, your first book, Sunny Days, not only gives us the rich history of Indian cricket, but also contains some interesting anecdotes that tells us about your initiation into cricket. Sir, could you please share with us one such anecdote that you particularly remember? We are all very eager to listen.
Yes, I think Sunny Days came about when I had hardly played 5 years of cricket. And I was working at that stage for Associated Cement Companies, and because of my traveling overseas for the matches, I didn't really actually have a specific job as such. I was assigned a nice big desk, but there was precious little to do. I had undergone my training, and when I came back from this tour of the West Indies, there was nothing really on the table for me to do. So I had to pretend and show everybody else around, like people sitting in front of me, that I was working. So I started jotting down my experiences, my memories of the tour, etc. And that's how the book came about, in the sense that a journalist friend who's no more, he came and he said, what are you doing? And I said, look, I'm just writing something. So he said, can I have a look? And that's how the book came about. But you asked for an anecdote in that, and I think the one anecdote that I remember is Dilip Sardesai, who was a practical joker. He really was a terrific practical joker. He and Salim Durrani were sharing a room. And so one day, Salim Durrani was sitting in the room in his shorts, because in the West Indies it's warm weather like over here, tropical weather like here. He was just sitting in his room in his shorts. There were no televisions in the West Indies in those days either. So no there was nothing else to do. If you could read, you were a reader, but otherwise you just lazed around. And suddenly in the room, Salim Durrani gets a call saying, "Hello, am I speaking to Mr. Durrani?" In a West Indian kind of accent. "Hello, am I speaking to Mr. Durrani?" And then, so Salim uncle said yes. So this gentleman said, "Oh, Mr. Durrani, I'm a big fan of yours. I've always watched your cricket, and I love your cricket, and I think I've got a gift for you. So why don't you come down to the lobby and take your gift?" So Salim Durrani thought, "Oh, fine." He had just played a major role in a victory, getting Gary Sobers and Clive Lloyd out of successive deliveries. So he put on his shirt, he put on his tie, the India colors. When we tour for India, we get a special tie, blazer, India blazer. And he came down to the lobby and he found nobody there. He kept looking around, nobody there. So he said, maybe what had happened, he didn't know. He waited for about 5-7 minutes, looked around and went back to the room. When he went back to the room and he took off, all the shirt, etc., back in his shorts. And another 5-7 minutes later, he gets a call again. So he picks up and says, "Hello." He says, "Hello, Mr. Durrani. I am waiting for you in the lobby. Where are you?" So Salim uncle said, "No, but I came down. I didn't see anybody." "Oh, no. I had just gone to the gents' room, so that's why you couldn't find me. But I am down in the lobby. Why don't you come down?" So Salim Durrani again gets up, puts on a tie, shirt, jacket, blazer, to try and make an impression, comes down, again looks around, and there's nobody. So he's getting now frustrated. What has happened second time around? And then just behind, there was a pillar there. From behind the pillar, Dilip Sardesai pokes his head and says, "Ah, you want a gift? You want a gift?" So there was actually nobody giving him a gift. But those were the kind of things that you had to do actually to entertain yourself on off days, on non-match days. Because there was no television, there was no opportunity to go to see a movie or cinema theater or something like that. It was inside. We were often kept away from the city center, staying in hotels away from the city center. So it was a bit difficult. So there you are.
Thank you, sir.
So did you have a lot of West Indian friends? Because that's a very convincing West Indian accent you can put on.
A big round of applause for the man who made India think, dream, and dream of nothing but cricket. You have set many records in your heyday. The next question is about these milestones you have crossed from one of our friends from the East Coast campus.
Good morning, sir. My name is Rishabh Jain from the GIIS East Coast campus, and I'm from class 8A. So my question is, as the world's greatest opening batsman, you have set many records. So according to you, what role does a record setting play in a sportsman's life?
Well, you never set out to establish a record because you're then putting on added pressure on yourself. As it is, there's a lot of pressure when you're going out to bat, opening the batting, for example. So you don't set yourself a target. The way I approached my batting was very simply to play it session by session. That is, I tried to play up to lunch, tried to play up to tea after that, and tried to play till the end of the day's play. I didn't set myself even run targets. Like, for example, a lot of batsmen set themselves targets of 10 runs. I'll get to 10, then get to 20, and so on and so forth. But what happens is, if you're counting the runs, and if you've got to 6, for example, and you want to reach 10, so that then you go to the next target, then you could actually play a wrong shot to the wrong ball and get out in trying to get to 10. And which is the reason I didn't set myself any targets of runs. I just wanted to play till lunchtime, till tea time. And I know a lot of people are surprised by the fact that I never looked at the scoreboard when I played. at my own score. I wasn't interested in knowing how many I had scored till I actually got out. Because I didn't want any other distractions. I just wanted to bat, bat, and bat.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, we feel inspired time and again with your contribution to the Indian national team at moments of crisis. Every Indian will recount the time when India required a big win to secure a home semi-final and how you hit a whopping 103 not out of 88 balls against New Zealand with a very high fever. We salute the zeal and dedication in you. We have a question coming up from an eager fan from the Queenstown campus.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I'm Yash Kulkarni from class 9B, and my question to you is, what responsibility do sportsmen carry when they're considered or addressed as legends in the world of sports?
It's a good question. I think the responsibility, whether you're a legend or not, is representing whichever team you are representing, whether it's a school team or a state team or the national team or a club team, representing it in the best manner possible, giving your best at all times to try and enable the team to be successful, to try and build harmony within the team, to try and build a team spirit which is going to take the team forward. And I think that is the responsibility that all of us need to look at, not just whether you're legends or whether you're ordinary persons. Because look, legend is something that is a name that is given to you by the media maybe. And if you start looking at yourself as a legend, you will overlook the fact that you are a human being. And that with like every other human being, you have your pluses and you have your minuses. And most of us actually have more minuses than pluses. And how to convert those minuses into pluses is what we should always look to do. Because that is one way of getting ahead in life. That is one way of creating an environment for yourself and for others to do better.
Thank you, sir. Those were inspiring words.
Back then, Sunil Gavaskar was a name that made all the bowlers fret as they struggled to get him out on the pitch. They sweated and fretted, but the little master worked his magic on the pitch. His trademark straight drives left the bowlers gaping hopelessly. The next question is aimed at one of the most technically sound batsmen the world has ever seen.
Good morning, sir. My name is Keyur. Good morning, sir. My name is Keyur. I'm from the GIIS East Coast campus. I'm in class 6C. My question is, how should a batsman prepare himself for a batting or bowling career pitch? What adjustments are needed for both kind of pitches?
It also depends to a great extent on the format that you're playing. The test format is a different requirement. For the limited overs format, there's a different requirement. But if you look at the test format, what you would say is what I said earlier on, is as a batsman you say, you have the time, you have the overs as well. So you say that you will take it easy for the first 30 minutes. I'm not saying you don't play any shots. There are certain shots that you try and avoid because you're still not used to what the ball is doing, still not used to what kind of bounce there is in the pitch. So try and play, as they say, with as straight a bat as possible. That is what you try and do. And as a bowler, while you have the new ball in your hand, or if you're bowling your first over, you're trying to get your line right. What is the line which batsmen do not like? The line that batsmen do not like is on the off stump, short of a length or a good length is around the off stump. That's where they don't know whether to play it or leave it. And that is what you try and do as a bowler as well. So there are different requirements. For limited overs cricket, you don't have the time. You've got to try and play your shots, try and play all across the ground. So these are things that come to you with experience. And it's something that, you know, as you play more, as you listen to your coaches, as you listen to your team captain, as you grow in a team, that is how you will get better. The important thing is every day to try and get better than the previous day. Look, if you've got out to a certain delivery, try and practice against that particular delivery so that you are able to make sure that you don't get out for that.
Thank you, sir. That was a lovely explanation.
So, on that note of adjusting the bowlers and bowling pitches, Shreyas Ravi of Class 10A from the Kuala Lumpur campus would like to know, is there any particular bowler who proved more of a challenge to you than the others?
The thing is, see, Shreyas, I just want to say that if I have to take credit for scoring more than 10,000 runs in Test cricket, I've got to say every bowler gave me problems. Because otherwise, some people tend to think, oh, bowling was easy, so he scored 10,000 runs. So I've got to say that, but I think amongst the fast bowlers, it was Andy Roberts. He was the one who I thought was the best fast bowler that I played. For the simple reason that it wasn't just with the new ball, when bowlers are supposed to bowl well, but with the old ball, and when a batsman was 150 or 180, that he could still bowl the wicket-taking ball. He could still surprise you with the wicket-taking ball. That's why he was the best bowler, fast bowler that I played.
Sir, you're the heartthrob of the nation for whom cricket is basically a religion. Undoubtedly, it must have been difficult to live up to the expectations of the nation. The next question is from one of the students from the Queenstown campus.
Good morning, sir. I am Akriti Varshne from class 11B, and I am here with my question on behalf of GIIS Tokyo. And my question is that what were the toughest moments of your life as a cricketer, and which moments do you relish the most as a sports person?
I think that I'll answer the second part of the question first. The moments you cherish most are the ones where the team has won. And I think nothing's been a greater moment in my entire life than when India won the World Cup in 1983. Just to be able to see Kapil Dev lifting that World Cup and then realizing the joy it would have given to millions of cricket lovers back home in India, I think that remains the greatest moment of my life, not just of my career. It remains the greatest moment of my life. And as I said, every time you've beaten another team, and particularly when you're representing your country, I think that's a moment to cherish. That's a moment to remember. It's a moment to savor, and that's happened to me. And every time India has lost, those are the moments that you don't want to remember. Every time, and I think it becomes even more difficult when India has lost when they could have saved the match. Sometimes, you are in a position where you can't win a match. But if you are in a position where you can at least save the match, draw the match, and then you can't draw the match, and you lose the match, that is probably the worst moment that you can have. And I think I've had a few of those, because there were occasions when we thought that we were safe, we would be able to save the match, and then something has happened. There's been a collapse, and we have lost. So those have been the terrible moments.
Thank you, sir. That was quite insightful.
We also extremely delighted from a remote location in Pune. We have the honor of having Mr. Chandu Bore also join us on the VC. Please give a big round of applause. I think we can't see him, but I'm going to just call him on his mobile, and maybe we'll have one or two words from him. Just a moment, please. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are live on the video conference, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. We have Mr. Gavaskar also here, and we are listening to you live on the video conference.
Good morning to you, Sunil.
Yes, sir.
I'm very happy that great moment to the school boys, and your presence is a great inspiration. And I'm happy that you are giving them such a tremendous point to be a great help to them in future. And I'm really very happy that you visited our school.
Yes, thank you, sir. We got your message, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Chandu sir was one of the greatest batsmen that India had produced. I remember sitting in the North Stand and watching him bat. And many years later, when I had the good fortune to be able to interact with him, I told him a little habit that he had. He said he didn't realize that he had that habit. He used to walk in to bat. Those were the pre-helmet days, of course. He used to walk in to bat bareheaded. And even, with that shock of, thick hair, even now he's fortunate to have a shock of thick hair. And he would go into bat, and maybe of the first ball or maybe an over later, if he got a single, when he got off the mark, as they say in batting, immediately after he got off the mark, he would signal to the dressing room to send his cap. And when I said to him, I remember you doing it, Chandu sir said he doesn't remember that used to happen. But, as somebody who followed his cricket, I remember that very, very clearly, that he would walk into bat without a cap. And after scoring his first run, then he would signal for the cap to be brought in. And then he scored this 100 against Wesley Hall and Charlie Griffith at the Brabant Stadium, when the first couple of wickets had fallen for nothing. And the ball was doing everything. Those were the days when the Brabant Stadium wicket was hard and bouncy, pretty much like the wickets you get in Australia and South Africa. And Wes Hall and Charlie Griffith. Now, Wes Hall's run-up was starting from near the side screen. It was, in fact, I remember I played when I was on my first tour to the West Indies. Wes Hall came to play for Barbados. And we were told the day before that he had had an accident, so he was not in the West Indies team. He was trying to make a comeback to the West Indies team. So I was the one who was taking the first ball in Barbados, and so I looked up and I didn't see anybody around. So I said, where is the bowler? Suddenly I realized the bowler was near the side screen. And I said to myself, my God, I've never gone that far for a holiday. What is he? Where is he coming from? And so that was a few years later, 5 years later. Chandu sir played him when Wes Hall was in his pomp and Charlie Griffith at the other end. Gary Sobers, who could bowl quick and who could swing the ball. And he got 121 at Brabant Stadium, the classiest 121 that I have seen. A couple of years before that, when India needed runs and wickets were falling, he scored 39 not out to take India to a win against Australia, Bobby Simpson's team. These are things that I'll never forget as a kid growing up, because as a kid growing up, you remember all that you see. And honestly, it's been an absolute privilege to be able to know Chandu sir and to have fed off his experience, because he's very generous with his experience, very, very generous with his experience, generous with his advice to youngsters. And really, as a player, I have tears in my eyes even when I say that, to say that, really been privileged, sir, to have got all your experience and benefit. Thank you, sir.
I'm also delighted to share with everyone that from November, Mr. Chandu Bode sir has kindly agreed to be the president of the Global Schools Foundation. So please give a big round of applause to Chandu sir.
Well done.
Sir, we can't hear you. Okay, I'll get Mr. Boris sir on the phone. In the meantime, we can continue with the other questions.
Sir, the world has seen you at the helm of success for nearly 2 decades with 10,000 run mark in Test cricket. Moreover, you demolished the West Indian fast bowling attack at their peak with a striking average of 65. You also became the first Indian cricketer to take 100 catches in Test matches. Such agility, talent and flair has earned you a permanent spot in the halls of fame. So the next question to you is from a curious youngster from the Queenstown campus.
Good morning, sir. I'm Prashant from the Queenstown campus. My question to you is, not all moments on field are moments of glory. There are millions of fans to cheer you on your success. But sir, could you tell us, how does one deal with one's failure?
Well, I think you try and learn from failure, try and analyze. Today, I think with video technology, with information technology, you're able to do it a lot easier, because you can actually today, for example, if you watch a telecast of the game, you will find that every time a batsman has got out and he's changed into his training gear, he's taken off his pads and gloves and all that, he comes and sits with a computer analyst. Every team today has got a computer analyst. He sits with him and he actually goes through how he has got out. Sometimes he has the coach sitting with him, and who will then tell the mistake that he made. And you can see that mistake on the screen itself, which wasn't the case when we played. So we generally relied on seniors like Chandu sir or seniors in the team to be able to tell us what was the mistake we made and how we could get over it. And the one way that you got over failure was to practice and get better. Try and avoid that error, because the more you practiced against that particular delivery that got you out, the better you were equipped to deal with it the next time.
Thanks a lot, sir.
I think we couldn't get the audio with Mr. Bode, but I think I just got a message saying that he has to proceed to Mumbai for the BCCI Awards today. Yeah, so I think he's already disconnected, but we will speak to him on the way. Please carry on.
So I thank you on the behalf of everybody here for the opportunity we all had to interact with you. And we all had today the opportunity of listening to a handsome hero who skillfully captained the Indian team and who will always be remembered for his sheer genius as much as for his distinctive headgear. Thank you, sir.
This has been a thoroughly informative and exciting interaction with Mr. Gavaskar today. Let us all acknowledge his generosity and humor and great style with a huge round of applause.
We request on stage Mr. Kamal Gupta, Chief Operating Officer, Global Schools Foundation, to present a token of our affection and gratitude to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar.
Thank you, sirs. We request Mr. Gavaskar to leave us a beautiful memory to cherish. Sir, we would be honored to have you sign the special cricket badge we hope to proudly preserve in memory of your visit.
behalf of the management and staff of the Global Indian International School, Queenstown campus, I, Rohan, take the opportunity to present the vote of thanks. We are extremely grateful to Mr. Sunil Gavaskar, Chairman of TBS Singapore Slammers and international sports personality, for giving us the opportunity to interact with him. For many amongst us, today will be a day to remember forever. We are also thankful to our Chairman, Mr. Atul Kulkarni, and members of the executive management for their support to the Leadership Lecture Series. We thank all the members of staff and students for being such a wonderful audience. Thank you.
Give it to Gavaskar, G for great!